The Nature Conservancy of Canada says in a study they found that 9 out of 10 Canadians say they feel happier and more creative when they spend time outside. Yet Carrie Hamill, the Director of Conservation for the NCC, says that 3/4 of Canadians find it easier to stay inside. Now, in 1997, where I'm standing right now, was completely underwater. Now, I'm just over 5'7", so just to give you an idea how deep the water was, take a look up here. Now you see that yellow stripe? That marks how high the floodwaters were at its peak in 1997. This is that wet, heavy snow, which can often be referred to as heart attack snow. But what separates it from the light, fluffy snow that we see in January? It's all about the amount of water the snow holds. Now, in using imperial measurements, 30 inches is about that high. But when that 30 inches of snow melts, it leaves about an inch of water. However, with this wet, heavy snow, when it melts, it leaves 5 times that much, so 5 inches of water. Wildfires are burning out of control in northern Alberta, and if you look outside, you can see the haze right here in Winnipeg. The fire danger is high in the city as well. In fact, you can just hear how tinder dry the grass really is. The water is just raging down Main Street, and I'm only on the sidewalk, and I can feel the power of this water just rushing over my feet. May is Motorcycle Awareness Month. According to Manitoba Public Insurance, 700 motorcyclists have been injured and 22 have been killed on Manitoba roadways in the last 5 years. 3, that's the number of times this smart, strong, and loyal canine was passed up to be the next furry addition to a family. Now he's being given a high security job right here in the house where the Winnipeg Jets play. Keep checking the bees all summer, and if they keep looking like this, Lloyd said come fall, he's going to be one happy beekeeper. Reporting in Shoto, I'm Rachel Crowspreadingwings. Back to you. A pedestrian has been killed south of Winnipeg near Dufresne. A 17-year-old was driving when he collided with a pedestrian who was walking on the roadway. A 42-year-old man was killed at the scene. RCMP say alcohol and speed don't appear to be factors. And the owner of a company that has the bus contract for a northwestern Montana school district faces charges for allegedly possessing and selling methamphetamine and smoking it. And Allison, you know, I think that would have been really fun today.
Oh, yeah.
I went for a run this morning, and I didn't even think about the color run that was going on, so I'm sorry.
I know, it was so fun. I've done it once before. A blast, perfect weather for it here in Great Falls, though a little bit of rain. Can't quite say the same though for northern Montana right now.
Okay.
Yeah, especially around Shelby, Montana, crazy flooding.
Now, 5 years ago, Malmstrom Air Force Base was rocked with scandal involving missile launch officers cheating on tests. The 9 people involved and the commander at the time were fired by the Air Force. Good evening, Montana. Thank you for joining us. I'm Rachel Crowspreadingwings. Following a 4-car crash late Saturday night, 62-year-old Glenn Wilkinson is being charged with aggravated DUI, and careless driving. Great Falls police responded to the crash on the 9th Street Bridge. They say a 10-year-old and a 5-year-old were in one of the vehicles. Injuries were reported, but no word on the extent of those injuries. Allison, there's been some flash flooding going on. Tell us about it. That's definitely some life goals right there. Well, that's all we have for you right now on this lovely sunny Tuesday evening. Tune back in at 11 for our final newscast. Until then, I'm Rachel Crowspreadingwings. Good night. Do you feel, having experienced that, it's kind of a continuation of the genocide that Indigenous people have gone through?
Yes, absolutely. I would agree with you there. I think the solitary confinement is a continuation of a genocide. It's a construct to continue to disproportionately target us and to traumatize us.
It's very emotional, of course, because, you know, you're not fishing for fish, right? You're fishing for bodies. And the potential of pulling something up is great. You know, we've helped recover loved ones and brought them home so their families can bury them in a proper way.
Now, this beautiful river gets its start in South Dakota and flows north right through our city. But underneath its muddy waters, it holds many secrets. Numerous bodies have been pulled from the river or been found along the banks. just like Tina Fontaine, a young teenage girl who will be forever remembered for her death, not her life. Volunteers from organizations like Mama Bear Clan are joining community members to learn more about how they can help safely look for human remains. Drag the Red started in 2014, the year that Tina Fontaine's body was found.
It's a very emotional job that we're doing, but we're doing it because we care about the community. And we want this to stop, and this is a proactive way in preventing, people from putting bodies into the river.
Dr. Emily Holland from the University of Brandon led the workshop and taught volunteers what to look out for.
One of the hardest things is the idea that people think that bone is like this nice, clear, clean object that's easy to pick out in the woods or on a riverbank, and that is completely untrue. It can look like wood can look like bone, they can masquerade as lots of different things.
If volunteers do find something, they're asked to actually take a picture of it, not to move it, and to send it to Dr. Holland, who will then decide if they're human remains or not.
You feel good about doing the work you're doing because you're helping the community.
We do know that we're looking for a missing person or an individual that has, in most cases, died a traumatic death. And that is an emotional component. And even for me, it's still something I acknowledge and deal with.
In Winnipeg, Rachel Crowspreadingwings, City News.
The street's not the place for grown-ups, let alone kids.
Well over 7,300 missing persons reports, a staggering number, says Winnipeg Police. The numbers are part of the Winnipeg Police Service Project Return. They cite 600 missing person reports are filed on average every month.
The bulk of those are kids, and the bulk of them are, those aren't 600 individuals, those are 600 incidents. So one person goes missing a number of times in a month, and that racks up the figures.
Constable Carver says they become what's referred to as chronic missing people.
Counter-exploitation and the missing persons unit get together. We partner with a bunch of outside agencies, so Outreach, Anchor, Bear Clan, and we want to go and target kids that we know are missing but might be at risk, whether it's at risk for sexual exploitation, human trafficking, drug subculture.
According to the report, 8 at-risk youth were located and taken to safety. 28 known at-risk locations were checked, and 18 crime prevention contacts were made to help those involved with sexual exploitation.
I can tell you that I sit back and I think it's discouraging, but the people that are in the unit, that are selected in that unit, really have huge patience and a huge dedication. I've talked to them regularly, and they don't seem to get that discouraged. They take great pride in what they do, knowing that they're trying to make a difference and making a difference. So luckily for the people at the front lines, not as discouraging it might be for some others.
He says though all the agencies work hard, there are success stories.
We try and bring the resources that are available now to those missing kids to make sure that there are options if there are drug or substance abuse issues, if there's gang connections, to try and bring resources that can maybe derail that particular path.
In Winnipeg, Rachel Crowspreadingwings, City News.
The winds are gusting, and as of today, the National Weather Service tells us that 78 inches of snow have fallen in the month of February alone. Now take a look at this map. Earlier today, there was no way in or out of Browning, and all the roads were closed by the Montana Department of Transportation. They're slowly starting to open, which literally is paving the way for help.
Here's going through by Livermore.
It seems to be a never-ending battle. If snow's not falling, it's blowing and creating more than just a headache for those trying to get help.
And if you're plowing that day, then you're plowing again the next day. It's just over and over and over. It becomes a very extreme hardship on some of our rural residences.
It's been 16 days since the beginning of the storm. Last week, as we reported, tribal members are working together to make sure people are getting help. And with no end in sight, DeRocher says it's now a waiting game.
We have an army of snow plows and snow blowers and backhoe tractors and loaders. And, those guys have been working in some cases around the clock. My hat's off to them. They're doing an excellent job. But, however, there's nothing we can do about the wind and the snow.
DeRocher hopes the community understands they are doing the best they can.
The Blackfeet Nation doesn't provide plow service just to be plowing the streets. The first day of the storm, we had over 65 calls. Second day of the storm, we had 90 calls. But most of the calls we have to prioritize, and we are trying to service the ones that are emergencies. We have some snow drifts that are 20 foot deep. We have piles of snow on top of piles of snow with no place for them to go. We're just covered up this winter, but we're maintaining pretty well.
Right now, the best thing people can do is look after each other, especially the elderly and those with medical conditions. Over in the Babb area, some have been able to get out, but are currently snowed back out of Babb and stuck in Browning.
As the storms continue to rage across the Rockies, many are left wondering what will happen when the snow melts, and will they be stranded due to flooding? But only time will tell Mother Nature's plans. Reporting in the newsroom, I'm Rachel Crowspreadingwings, Montana Right Now.
The CMMG motorcycle rally will be held here at the legislature at 11 o'clock Saturday morning. In Winnipeg, Rachel Crowspreadingwings, City News.